Hi guys, a very good morning. Guns, knives, spears, everything is out of President Advocate Nelson Chamisa. So you can actually see that the system has deployed almost everyone within its reach to fight Advocate Nelson Chamisa tooth and nail, because this is the final nail to the coffin. They are now running a last campaign to save Emmerson Mnangagwa and his regime. Imagine every person who claimed to have worked for the opposition and for democracy fighting for the existence of one man, simply because they want to continue eating on the feed tray. So there is this account which seems to be belonging to Elias Mzuri. He has never refused or distanced himself from it, but it's a ghost account. But it carries a lot of significance, and somehow, it's controlled by people who are working with Chavangu, who are working with Emmerson Mnangagwa. They say these gentlemen held a successful meeting today to resolve and clarify issues in absentia. I support everything what they agreed on, and it must be clear that the opposition won't die only because egocentric individuals we want our country to move on. Well done, comrades. And guess what? The message is about this team which met in Harare. These sellouts who met in Harare. A lot of comrades were not there. A lot of comrades didn't participate in this whole thing, for their own reasons and also for ZANU-PF reasons. We will have to talk about it later. But what I find it difficult to understand is when people fight Nelson Chamisa tooth and nail on daily basis, accusing him for something he didn't do. Accusing Nelson Chamisa, they are easily swayed to hate Nelson Chamisa, but they are easily swayed to work with Emmerson Mnangagwa. Why? It's because they've worked together. It's because they've taken every step which they feel that this is the weakest position to attack Advocate Nelson Chamisa. Knowing the kind of person who he is, that is not going to fight back or respond badly. They are taking advantage of his family, abusing him, doing all these things to embarrass him, to humiliate him. I expected this because we are dealing with idiots who run behind fake accounts to taint the images of other people. And in all this, where are the original owners of the accounts? They are quiet. They let their names be used to destroy the opposition leader because they also have their points to score. They also have their agenda to meet. That is sorrow. We are living in a society where the moral fabric, the social fabric, the political fabric has been eroded by idiots. It has been eroded by people who believe in nothing but corruption, who do not believe in equality, people who do not believe in a fair society, who do not believe in a better Zimbabwe. These are the people doing everything in their power to keep Emmerson Mnangagwa and this corrupt cabal at the expense of the masses of the people, at the expense of the masses of the people of Zimbabwe. I was not shocked further than before when I saw Karenyi Kore, Woshme Ncube, Wende, and others working together. Because the very first time I knew that they had betrayed Nelson Chamisa, I was very shocked. And at this point in time, I can't continue to be shocked. We have been fighting in the trenches for change. Several people have been left handicapped. Several people have been left dead. Several families are now destitute. fatherless because their fathers were fighting for change. The Tonderai Ndiras, the Rashwe Gujas, they believed in change and they fought alongside other comrades for change. But they were being sold by the people who are working from the inside, the Moors working from the inside. I hate it to see people fighting for their own stomachs and their own tummies, not for others, not for the best interest of the nation and the whole world. This is the right time for us as the people of Zimbabwe to come together, unite, speak with one voice, find a solution to these problems, to this quagmire. It's not time for us to bicker each other. It's time for us to work together collectively as a people, unite as a people, and deal with the situation at hand. It pains me to explain, to understand that everything is now about Nelson Chamisa. I know a lot of people would try to defend and say, these are ghost accounts, this and that. But no, it's not only coming to people like this, it's also coming to some people who can be trusted. Everyone is talking about Nelson Chamisa. Charlton Wende has gone to a level and to a point where they are threatening everybody who is attached to Nelson Chamisa and close to Nelson Chamisa, working together with ZANU-PF, doing whatever they can to make sure that they taint the image of Nelson Chamisa and the people he has worked with. The Obet Gutus, they have gone wrong. Everybody who seemed to have worked with Nelson Chamisa is turning against him. Vanamai Kore, doing all they could to propel the regime and the system. Not because they started today, but because they were born traitors. And they got into politics to make money and to feed their families. There is a difference. There is somebody who is working every morning, who can work for his family, who can work for everything. And there is somebody who has never worked elsewhere, who has never worked anywhere, at any place, but they have gotten a chance to taint the image of our democracy through selling out. They got into politics to sell out. They become activists to make money. Their end game is to make money, nothing else. They do not care if a child in Mwenezi does have a school. They do not care if a woman in Mwenezi does have access to maternity. They do not care if Chembere in Chendambuya do you have access to social grants or to better life. All they care about is how to drive better cars and nice cars. This is the reason why they are so obsessed with Land Cruisers, which are being promised from Parliament. It's because they've never had an opportunity to buy themselves even a bicycle. But for a genuine Zimbabwean who has toiled so hard and managed to buy himself a bicycle, he understands why change is very important. The people have been voting for a very long time. People have been voting for a very long time. And ZANU-PF has been rigging elections with the help of these people, the internal people, working together. Traitors working together. And they will continue to make us turn a blind eye on these real issues, because when you speak about them, they will attack you. They will send people to try and do whatever they can to attack you. Why are they attacking Nelson Chamisa? It's because he's bringing a new philosophy. A philosophy of zero tolerance to corruption. And those who are not opposed to corruption, those who want Nelson Chamisa to form a government with them so that they expand the empire of corruption, they are fighting him on a daily basis, tooth and nail, without shame, They are now gallivanting together with the corrupt individuals. They find it easy to gallivant with Emmerson Mnangagwa, a man who is accused of so many things. But they find it difficult to work with Advocate Nelson Chamisa for the common good of the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe. It's because he has refused to be bought. It's because he has made it clear that you can't be in government when you are there to benefit yourself. Is that going to deter us? Definitely not. They have jumped off the ship of change. We are not going to let positions vulnerable. We are not going to let Nelson Chamisa walk alone. We are going to make sure that we take position and fight back. We are going to make sure that we fight for change in the nation of Zimbabwe. We are not going to expose our weaknesses. We are going to cover up the weaknesses of our leaders. Everybody does have a weakness, especially when you are surrounded by traitors, wolves, hyenas. They have done everything in their power to bury Advocate Nelson Chamisa. Without God, he would have died. Without God, he would have been finished. But at least there is a string of hope attached to Advocate Nelson Chamisa and the citizens. This is the reason why they have refused to vote for anything without the senior citizen, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. This is the reason why we are calling and imploring the people of Zimbabwe to start uniting towards Advocate Nelson Chamisa. To start having a conversation, an honest conversation about what needs to be done. To start having an honest conversation about the future of the Republic of Zimbabwe. This young man has risked his life, has done everything within his power to liberate the people of Zimbabwe. He can't be a man who decides what people think, who decides what people feel. He can't be. We can't blame him for failure of grown-up men to stick to the protocol of change, which says never sell out, which says never do it for yourself, but rather do it for others for generations. We are going to step in and take positions and fiercely fight ZANU-PF. I know they will blame Nelson Chamisa of not taking a provocative route because they were there setting him up. They were not going to complete the struggle. But now that we know, it's time for us to fix ourselves, set up our bases, and as a people, start to organize each other. Let us start to fight for change. Let us start to organize ourselves as the people of Zimbabwe. I am serious about what I'm talking about. I'm serious about liberating the country Zimbabwe. I'm serious about making sure that we do the needful. We do what is right to liberate the country Zimbabwe and support the vision of Advocate Nelson Chamisa. This time around, we know the consequences. We know that they are readily available to jail us. They are readily available to kill us. They are readily available to sell out. But we have to use a new technique. We have to confront them with whatever which we have on our side. We have to make sure that we fight tooth and nail up to the end, up until we liberate Zimbabwe. People are on our side. We haven't been organized. And the time for us to be organized is now. The time for the people of Zimbabwe to come under one umbrella of change and unity is now. Nelson Chamisa needs everybody. The time for jokes is over. The time for petty fights is over. The time for petty statements is over. We are getting into a new direction, a direction of change. And we are going to continue to be guided by the change champion-in-chief, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. We are going to execute this struggle without these traitors. We are going to show the world that as Zimbabweans, we care for the generations to come. We are taking these positions consciously, knowing for sure that these people are capable of killing. These are traitors. They've done whatever they could to destroy us. But we are going to remain strong. We are going to fight for change because there is a mission which must be completed from the State House. It's time for change in the nation Zimbabwe. It's time for the people of Zimbabwe to realize that we can build a community which is corrupt-free. They have worked against Nelson Chamisa because they are traitors, because the system does have something on them about corruption. The reason why the system can never silence me is because for the years I served even in government, I never collected a bribe. And I believe that my senior citizen advocate Nelson Chamisa never collected a bribe. This is the reason why they don't have anything about him. This is the reason why they are trying by all means to find something to lay on him. And it's high time we start to fight. It's high time we start to fight. It's high time we start to fight for change. I believe in change. I believe that our time is coming. I believe that our time has come. And I believe that God has kept us alive for a very long time for reasons. If you go to Kenya, there is a revolution happening as we speak. Another revolution will start from the south. South Africa will soon have a revolution. Zimbabwe will soon have a revolution. Mozambique will soon have a revolution. DRC will soon have a full revolution. That will be a revolution to liberate Africa. To make sure that dictators go and they go for good. To make sure that we go beyond party politics. We go beyond the interest of political parties and we start to implement the interest of the citizens of Zimbabwe. Nelson Chamisa's crime is to put citizens at the center, to prioritize the people over politicians, to say you cannot eat when the people of Zimbabwe are still suffering. That is his crime. This is the reason why when he said, let us withdraw, they refused to withdraw. This is the reason why when he said, let us not go to parliament, they went to parliament and manipulated everybody. Most importantly, the inexperienced MPs were gotten into parliament for the first time. But we are not going to tolerate it. They will not continue to manipulate us because the time for change is now. The time for us to have a conversation is now. I know that we are dealing with people who have spent their adulthood working for nothing. These are the people we are talking to. People who are serious on politics on social media are people who are 35 years and above. Our youths, particularly those 30 years and below, they are interested in something else because they've not seen life. It's because they don't have responsibilities. The majority of them, they have somebody taking care of them. But I understand a generation or generations of people who have toiled so hard, who have worked so hard everywhere to serve their own country, but they have nothing to show about it. I know that you need change. I know that you want change. And that change is coming because it's time for the people who are in leadership to show direction. Now that we know each other, it's time for us as Zimbabweans to start showing the direction. This responsibility is not on Nelson Chamisa alone. It is our responsibilities, our collective responsibility to do whatever we can to liberate Zimbabwe. Let's fight for change. Let's start a campaign. They've started a campaign against Nelson Chamisa. They've started a campaign against the people of Zimbabwe, unprovoked. It's our time to start a campaign to liberate Zimbabwe. And the time to start that campaign is now. The time to fight back is now. I know that the reason why we are failing is because the majority of our youth is disengaged. Not because they are willing to be disengaged, but because the regime has made it difficult for them to be connected online. The regime has made it difficult for them to afford at least to have data for them to watch videos on a daily basis. And it's time for us to start having a conversation which goes offline, which goes into families, which goes into individuals. We fiercely fought during the elections. We fiercely confronted ZANU-PF during the elections without fear. They stole the election with the aid of the people whom we trusted. We no longer trust anybody, but we can trust ourselves. It's time for us to fight. It's time for us to fight. The struggle will not die. Zimbabwe shall be free. And we will make Zimbabwe free, either by hook or by crook. I am making this statement from the deepest part of my heart because they have deployed every arsenal at their disposal to fight one man, Nelson Chamisa. They are happy. Go to everybody, including people who we thought that they wanted change too. They are attacking Nelson Chamisa. And they are not finding pleasure to attack Emmerson Mnangagwa. It's because their duty is to attack those who fight for change, those who threaten their pockets and their plates. The time for change is now. We have to bring change which is going to benefit everybody, not just an individual. This is the reason why the whole system has been unleashed to fight Change Champion, to fight his team, and they are celebrating left, right, and center. It's not over, and who is over? The time for change is coming. The time for us to fight back is now. The time for us to fight back is now. And as a young person, I'm not going to let this continue. As an individual, I'm not going to let this continue. It's time for us to lobby. It's time for us to talk. It's time for us to demand what belongs to us, to confront the regime. And we are ready. Now that we know who our enemies are, it's time for us to confront the regime. It's time for us to send a message to Emmerson Mnangagwa and his emissaries. It's time for us to send a clear message to the traitors. Our people are dying. Our people are hungry. Our people don't have schools. Our society is broken up. Nothing is moving. Our people have toiled for very long times without pensions, without hospitals, without schools, with nothing. The elite are making money. Somebody is fighting to be included in the corrupt train instead of fighting for change. This is the reason why when people fight for change, they become unpopular. But we are starting a new journey. We are starting a new trajectory. We are starting all together in a different way. And we have started this call to make sure that we unite as a people we bring each other together and we fight for change. It's high time we fight with one voice and from one position. Yes, Zimbabwe shall be free. Zimbabwe is going to be free. And we are taking this position to start to mobilize each other. And we will be in this campaign to make sure that we bring change to the nation Zimbabwe, to make sure that we bring change and justice to the nation Zimbabwe. And the campaign starts now. We have marked the campaign and we have started to fight. Those who died for this country will never die in vain. We have fallen comrades who died for the liberation of Zimbabwe, who died for the better emancipation of the people of Zimbabwe, who died fighting for Zimbabwe, only for some people to sell out, only for traitors to be in parliament, to be in positions. And they are making vows, they are swearing that they will continue eating with the regime. And they are fighting with whatever they have. And it's our time as the citizens to make the corrupt uncomfortable. We are going to make sure that every corrupt person is uncomfortable. We are going to turn the heat. As the young people of Zimbabwe, we have started a campaign. And personally myself, I have started a campaign. I'm going to turn much heat on the corrupt elements, on everybody. It's no longer business as usual, because it's time for the people in exile, for the people in diaspora, for everybody to come home. For the people who are capable to deliver, who are supposed to be in parliament, for them to be in parliament. It's time for change. We can't let Nelson Chamisa do everything. We are starting a movement. We are starting a movement to confront the regime head on. This past week, these idiots, they manipulated our people, attacked our youths, broken our youth legs, tortured our young people. It's because they want to break the resolve. It's because they don't want young people to get into the streets. It's because they don't want young people to rise up and cause a revolution. But we are ready. They will never punish all of us. They will never imprison all of us. And in the coming hours and days, I'm going to make a declaration about the direction we need to take as young people. Not representing anybody, but representing the citizens of Zimbabwe. Not under the direction of anybody, but under the directions of the citizens of Zimbabwe who want change. We will do it for Nelson Chamisa. We will do it for the people. We are not going to wait for the regime to finish us all. The young people they attacked in Harare in this past week, they are the reason why we have to rise. They are the reason why we have to start this conversation. But for us to run a revolution which is going to be successful, we need to unite. We need to start to have a conversation. We need to start to talk as a nation. We need to start to conscientize our people so that they understand where we are going and where we are coming from. And we will lead from the front. We will lead this revolution from the front. We have started speaking to different people to make sure that we fight for change in the nation of Zimbabwe. If it means our lives, yes, so be it. We are not the first to die. We will not be the last to die. But change will come in our lifetime. Our generation shall liberate Zimbabwe for good. And our generation shall bring order to the nation Zimbabwe. So it's either you are in or you are out. But we, as young people, particularly myself, I'm ready to do whatever it takes to bring change. It pains me to see ZANU-PF people spit in our faces daily. It pains me. It's no longer safe to walk in Harare. It's no longer safe to live in our homes. I was hunted several times simply for representing the opposition in a rural area. I was hunted. My family was attacked. Yes, my family was attacked. I'm not going to let that slip away. I'm in pain. I'm angry. But anger alone is not enough. Action must be taken. With or without the military, we will confront the regime in Harare. With or without the CIO and the police, we will confront the military in Harare. Here's my message to those in the police force. It's time for you to work in the best interest of your country. Here's my message for those soldiers in Zimbabwe. It's time for you to protect the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Here's my message to those in the CIO. You protect the state, and the state is not Emmerson Mnangagwa. We are the state. You protect us. It's time for you to choose who to work with. It's either you choose to work with the state, the people, or to work with Emmerson Mnangagwa. I have given a definition about the state for a very long time. But the time for us to fight is now. So we are launching a conscientizing campaign where we are getting into a period where we have to send direct messages to the people of Zimbabwe to conscientize them, to make sure that this message circulates to every person in Zimbabwe, to every young person in Zimbabwe, to say the time to fight for change is now. The time to have a conversation about change is now. After that, we'll make sure that we occupy the streets of Harare, of every city, of every town, up until we deliver change. A man who went to the throne unconstitutionally will fall constitutionally. The people will speak. They stole the election several times, 2 times, under Nelson Chamisa. And we will make sure that we restore that. Those who were supposed to restore order and constitutionalism in Zimbabwe, they've refused because they are equally corrupt. And they want to continue to be corrupt. They've refused to do the right thing. But we cannot have a bogus opposition racing to endorse nonsense in Zimbabwe, racing to endorse corruption in Zimbabwe. I know that what I'm saying will never be popular because our people will never support an action-oriented program. But I know that our people will be conscientized enough to know that it's time for an action-oriented program. And I'm speaking this from my heart. It's time to fight for Nelson Chamisa because on his own, he's surrounded by wolves. He can't do it. And they've pledged a war onto everybody who Nelson Chamisa has worked with, onto everybody linked to Nelson Chamisa. There is a cyber attack, character assassination. They're doing everything they could to silence us. And we are going to do everything within our power to fight back. Time to fight is now. And the time to confront the regime is now. 87 million was looted and was taken into a GOAT program which benefited nobody of this country. CSC just needs around 130 million for it to start running. 87 million could have taken us very close to that. 40 million, which was looted from ZEC, could have taken us just there to 130 million. Our people could have started benefiting from CSC In the past years, Emmerson Mnangagwa has been charged. If he was serious, if he was genuine, our people could have started benefiting. But because it's not about the people, it's about themselves. It's about gallivanting, driving nice cars, marrying so many women at our expense. We have to rise. We have to stand up. We have to start having a conversation. This is the beginning. We are starting a campaign, and I'm begging everybody who is right here to join us in this campaign, to make sure that you share these videos. This is the best you can do. This is the least you can do. To make sure that we conscientize our people. There is too much propaganda. This is the reason why we have to start to conscientize our people first. Then we get into a real struggle. That struggle is not going to be brought by SADC. That struggle is going to be brought by you and me. There are people who sacrificed their lives during the liberation struggle. Some of them are still alive up to this day, but they've never benefited, they've never tasted a sweet Zimbabwe. But we have to fight. Yes, we have to fight. And Emmerson Mnangagwa will go down.